Studio 12 from the south end zone of Kyle Field. Will Johnson, Matt Simon with you. And, Matt, this show is known for poor behavior and bad antics. Got to be at our best today.
P's and
the
Q's
head man is in. And we've got the director of athletics at Texas A&M, Mr. Scott Woodward, joining us. And he's been on the job for about a month now. And good to have you here, and I know things have probably been a whirlwind since you've arrived. They always are in that role of an AD, but thanks for taking the time to join us.
Glad to be here, Will.
I remember back the first day you stepped on campus, had the press conference in the Hall of Champions, and I think you mentioned then job number one is to do a lot of listening.
Yeah.
You want to meet with head coaches, you want to meet with athletic department personnel, you want to listen to what they have to say about what is going on here. What has that taught you so far, the conversation?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's what I expected in a good way. We have great coaches here. We have winning traditions, and we do it the right way. So, as I mentioned in my press conference opener, stealing a line from the doctors, the Hippocratic Oath is first do no harm.
Yeah.
And that's been the case. I've been really impressed with our coaches and their commitment to the student athletes and their commitment to excellence, both in the classroom and on the field or court. And it's been really invigorating and enlightening for me to see that.
Mm-hmm. And you have to join us here, which you at least have the fellow Louisianan over here to your left, and Matt Simon, the New Orleans native. So
adding more Louisianans and natives from the South here on the staff with the basketball staff. And,
yeah.
I mean it's yeah. Well, we had Julian Obiohai, and he's been the only other than Coach Kennedy. He's been the only other Louisiana folk in here in the studio, so picking up. But glad to be closer to home, closer to the food, closer to the family, all that stuff.
Without a doubt, and it's a great thing to be in such a wonderful place where, we're top of the heap academically and obviously top of the heap athletically in the Southeastern Conference, and it's just really, really great. And it's, like I said, an extra benefit, me being closer to my parents who are getting older and have siblings in Louisiana as well as Alabama.
What about on a personal note, the cultural differences? Seattle is one of the most dynamic cities in the world. It's a gorgeous place to be. It's different, though, because of where it is geographically. We all know how things are in the South. We all know how Louisiana is, how special that place is. But to be in Texas, I mean, it's kind of the similar feel, I would think, to being back south. You enjoy being back there around these kind of people?
Yeah, no question about it. I loved my wife and I loved our time in Seattle. The people were wonderful. It's a great dynamic city. But for us, it's very comfortable and it's very familiar feeling, and I really like it. It's kind of like a perfect fit for me.
Yeah. Growing up in Louisiana, you obviously grew up with SEC athletics and watched football, baseball, all the sports that they played in the South there. When you were in Seattle, that's when A&M joined the SEC, and maybe you were a little bit at a distance from it at the time. But when you saw that move, Texas A&M going to this Conference of Champions, did you see it then and maybe think that, well, that's a great move, that's a great fit for that league, it's going to be beneficial to both schools, not necessarily knowing you would end up at Texas A&M one day?
Yeah, I mean, my immediate reaction was very business. It's like, God, what a brilliant move Mike Slive made, really getting these media markets locked down, Houston and Dallas, and even Austin a little bit. Wow, really, really great move with a great institution. So I was like, all hail to Mike Slive for being a genius in doing so. And obviously it's worked out very well from our standpoint here at Texas A&M. It's been really good, and there were some concerns that everyone had, and me included, that, hey, look, we're going into a rough neighborhood. Are we prepared for it? And obviously we've answered that call, and all of our sports are very competitive and near the top of the heap in what I call the best conference in America.
Yeah, it really is incredible when you look at national rankings of sports that are in session right now. It seems like A&M is just taking up permanent residence in the top 10 or top 20 at least of just about all of them. And one of those that jumped back into the rankings recently as men's basketball, and Billy Kennedy, a New Orleans native, just what he's done. His season is ongoing. Have you gotten a chance to sit down with him, and what feel do you get for the progression of the basketball program as he continues on?
Yeah, I really like what I see. I was at practice the day before yesterday and watched a little of it, and was not obviously, but I was there for the walkthrough for the Mississippi State game, and it's really it's a pleasure to watch him coach and the staff coach, and how well the kids connect. And I really like what I see going forward. Good young talent, a good pipeline of recruits. So I think the future looks very bright for us.
Yeah. Athletics Director Scott Woodward with us here on the Friday edition of Studio 12. And you talked about Coach, you talked about the kids. Is that one of the things you love about working in athletics that maybe you don't get in other career paths, that you get to be so close with these young men, young women as they start to grow into adults, and you also get to know everybody just sort of becomes your family?
That's without question, Matt. I mean, there's not a day that I don't look forward going to the job, because I know I'm going to see those kids and see those student athletes, whether it's in the training room, whether it's on the court, or whether it's in the weight room or walking across campus. It's really, really invigorating, and it also gives you a bit of a inferiority complex, because these kids are so smart and they're so talented, and they juggle so much in their lives. It's really very impressive.
Yeah, and just the whole grand scheme of it, like you mentioned, with these kids, and it's just so important to get them the resources, the academics, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition center, which you've been to and dined at, I'm sure, so far. I mean, everybody's loved that since it's gone on campus a couple of years ago.
There we go. We're talking about food
it always shifts to food at some point on the show, but just the kids, like you mentioned, they're so smart, but the resources are here in place for them to really realize any opportunity they hope for after Texas A&M.
Oh, there's no question about it, and that's the beauty of this great institution and the network that we have with everyone, whether it be the foundation or the association or the 12th man. It's just really great to have that Aggie network and that connection, and the kids feel it, and it's really great. And that's, it is so important, and it's so obvious that our former students and our supporters do care so much about what we do in athletics, and it's obvious that that's the case. And I couldn't be more happy with working with the 12th Man Foundation and the association and the foundation and everyone involved. I met today with the General Ramirez and the Commandant of the Corps of Cadets, and just what an impressive guy and what an impressive group. It's just all around. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants to win, and everyone wants to do it for the right reasons. That's really rewarding.
You have such a diverse background with your career, but a lot of it has centered around college, maybe on the university side. But for a while now, you talk about success on the field just as a fan, and maybe at your time at Washington, maybe back at LSU. Any favorite games or any favorite sports memories that maybe stick out to you?
You have all kinds of memories and things like that, and I can't say one in particular sticks out, but for me, and I don't want to sound Pollyannish, but public institutions of higher education are transformative, and I've mentioned it before, that you see people that didn't necessarily go to Texas A&M or to Washington or to LSU, and you see them have these aspirations for their children, and you see them bring them to sport events, and you can just see it in their eyes that, hey, Junior, I want you to be a part of this, or Sissy, I want you to be a part of this. This is a special thing. Yeah. I didn't get to do it, but I want you to do it. And, it's a great segue and a great front porch for transformative things in life, because higher education was transformative for me, and I think it's transformative for most people, and it is especially the case here at Texas A&M with this incredible network and this incredible esprit de corps that we have here that's just really special.
Stop number 2 for you on the athletic side here at Texas A&M. How invaluable did you find your time on the academic side at the institutions you worked at in your job in athletics? Because they work so closely hand in hand that I don't know if people realize how close those two sides are.
Yeah, before I get in trouble for the professors out there listening, I was really not, on the academic side per se as a tenure track professor.
Well, no.
But I was advocating on their behalf as part of the administration. So, but that fact did give me a lot of credibility at both institutions, and hopefully it'll carry over here that, hey, I do care about the mission and the place, and this athletic department is not a wholly owned subsidiary of Texas A&M University. It's an integral part of it, and I want people to see it that way, and I want everyone to know that this is part of something very special, and it's not just athletics.
Yeah. We're talking with Texas A&M AD Scott Woodward here on Studio 12, the Friday edition, and you mentioned that college athletics can be transformative, and what these students, everybody works hand in hand here at A&M. Have you gotten to some events and kind of noticed the atmosphere of a Texas A&M athletic evening? Because we tout it all the time. I mean, A&M, quick to brag about our atmospheres. All right, we know that we say it day in and day out, but. Have you gotten out to some already, maybe baseball, basketball, men's or women's, any of them, and just gotten the feel for it at this point?
Yeah, I've been out to baseball, to basketball. I've been out to see all the coaches in their facilities, been out to track practice, softball, tennis, but it's really very, very impressive, and it's fun, and that's the fun part of the job is going out and getting to see the various venues with the kids and the practices and the involvement with the coaches.
Has anybody had to explain the bubbles at baseball to you yet? Every time they score a run, now Bluebell Park just unleashes bubbles all over the place. But that's a rather new tradition. But baseball, they're heading out to Pepperdine this weekend, but obviously that's a sport that's kind of transfixed A&M fans for years, and Bluebell Park's a great atmosphere. Just I kind of asked about your thoughts of men's basketball, but baseball too, and Rob Childress and what those guys can accomplish this season.
Yeah, they're highly ranked going in, have a lot of good pitching and a solid team, and we expect big things out of them. And he has high expectations, and it would be nothing greater for me to spend early June in Omaha.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a great place to be, for sure.
Absolutely.
I know one of your biggest loves, maybe your biggest love, is football, and football is obviously such a big deal here, and it's such a big deal in the South. You'll get your taste of football for the first time during the spring, but I know you probably can't wait until the home opener against UCLA in September.
Yeah, I had lunch today with Coach Slocum, and we were talking about that and talking about how special it was, and as I've mentioned before, my first visit here for a game was probably 25 years ago, and I don't even remember the outcome of the game because I was so enthralled with the core and with the yell leaders. It's like, this is unbelievable, and I was telling Coach Atten, I said, Coach, you probably whipped Mike Archer at LSU at the time. He says, I did. And so we got a big laugh out of that. But, yeah, I can't wait for the fall. It's a special time of the year, and it's exciting, and I just can't wait to be a part of it.
You talk about how integral athletics is inside of a university culture, and maybe here as much or more so than any other school in the country. When you get that win on a football Saturday, just the way it makes the campus feel, the way it makes former students or just fans feel, it's a pretty special feeling.
Yeah, it really is. And it's really life lessons. What's more important to me is watching the kids pregame and what they do and how they go through it, and as well as postgame, whether it's the thrill of victory or as we say, the agony of defeat. It's life learning, and it's very important to see how you react and how you overcome adversity, no matter whether you win or lose. You see kids struggle that didn't get playing time. You get to see kids excited because they got playing time. It's a microcosm of life, and that's why our kids are so well prepared for life after sports. That for me, I always try to be a part of that and see and feel their pain and see and feel their excitement.
Yeah, and we were talking about how you can't wait for the fall, and you met with Coach Slocum, and now with Kevin Sumlin in town, the football program is under his directions. You obviously had meetings with Coach Sumlin, and just your thoughts, your impressions of the guy that leads Aggie football.
Yeah, it's a very impressive coach, very impressive staff, and he came into this league like a house of fire and obviously raised expectations, which he is not shy to admit. But we need to get it back to where we were, and he no less than anyone else wants to get it there quickly and fastly, and I think we will. I really like what I see in these kids and his staff that he's put together this year, and what we have in the pipeline for recruiting and talent. I think the future's bright, and like Coach Slocum and I talked about at lunch today, he really says, God, you're coming at a great time. There's really, really going to be a high uplift here. And I said, that's why I'm here, and that's I can't wait to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. And you were involved in a construction project at Washington. Husky Stadium underwent major renovations that you led there, and then you get here and you see Kyle Field. And I mean, have you just been through it, gotten to just quietly walk through the Hall of Champions, the All-American Club, the Founder Suite, and just out on the field, and your impressions of what's in place now as the home of Texas A&M football?
Very simple, second to none. It's unbelievable. It's a fabulous facility. It's everything that Texas A&M represents. It's great for recruiting. To me, my hat goes off to everyone who did it, in particular Chancellor Sharp and the 12th Man Foundation that really had the vision to really build an incredible venue that's going to last for decades and be a part of something that was already special, but even making it and continuing it into the future.
He's going to have to tell us what those clubs are like. There's signs at the door. They have our Will and I's photo on them. Won't let us.
Yeah, you're banned.
Like, do not let these two inside the facility.
Well, if you come into a nice football stadium like this, it also takes the sting away of no longer getting to look out at Lake Washington and the boats out there for one of the most picturesque settings there's ever been for college football.
It really is. It's a beautiful piece of real estate, and it's a special place.
Yeah.
How excited are you to get back working with President Young?
Yeah. Obviously, I've had very good relationships with everyone I've worked for. I don't know any other way how to do it. And we had a nice tenure together and worked well together. And I enjoyed working for him. And as I've told you guys before, that a chain of command matters to me, and a place that's all in matters as much, and it's just great to see that, and he's embraced that obviously in his short time here, and that was a big reason of why I came.
How about the transition here on a personal note? You guys getting settled into town, wife, family, everybody kind of getting. I know you've only been a month, but are you settled in yet? Do you need some more time to settle in, or how's that been?
I've got a half gallon of Bluebell butter pecan in my freezer, so
that's a good start.
Who needs anything
else?
That's
a good way to settle in, right there.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's been great. The transition's been wonderful. People have been very helpful and very friendly to my wife and I. My two boys are grown and out of the house, so we're empty nesters, and we're really, really enjoying the hospitality and the niceness of the community. It's been great.
Where are they living now?
One is in San Francisco. He and his wife live in San Francisco, and then I have a free spirit son who lives in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Oh, all right. Man.
People ask what he does. I said he fly fishes and snow skis. And
it's a great place to go visit there. Come up and visit as often as you can.
No question.
No doubt. But growing up, you went to LSU, started a career in academics and then athletics, and achieved great successes. Who would you say, because Matt asked you about Mike Young just a minute ago, your influences growing up, people that you look back today and say, maybe I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them? in your younger years.
Yeah, here again, not to sound corny or Pollyanna, it obviously starts with your parents.
Right.
And my parents are just rocks, letting out a secret here because I'll be gigged for the rest of my life in a bad way, not in a good way like we do it at A&M, but I talk to my mother every night. Pure mama's boy. I admit it. That's the way it is. So, obviously it starts with them. And I've had numerous people throughout my career that have been very helpful and very supportive in what I do, that have mentored me, that have helped me. And it goes along with everyone I've worked for and everyone I've been around. So everyone's had a little piece kind of influence on me, and I try to take of what's best about what I've learned and apply it to my life experience.
Certainly.
You're very close to James Carville, big time political figure there. You got any stories you could share on air, or are those more for those are more for off air?
I better go off air with those, especially as close as I am to James and Mary. They're dear friends, and I have known James since I was a child and a kid growing up in Louisiana. He was a patient of my father's, and we maintained a close relationship, and he's always been very helpful and very supportive of what we've done, what I've done. And I use him in any way I can because he is a huge fan and advocate of collegiate athletics. Yeah. We know he's an LSU fan through and through, but he is really at heart a collegiate athletics fan, and we try to use and promote him all we can, especially when we come under fire. He gives us good advice.
You'll have to come up with a friendly, non-monetary wager for the A&M LSU game.
That's right.
Thanksgiving here. Maybe a food. It could be a food bet.
Yeah, right.
Those always work.
You win, you get some boudin. He wins, you get one of these great burgers we have here in town,
barbecue or something like that.
Exactly. So. Well, thank you so much for the time. I enjoyed it, and off and running, I guess we could say here at Texas A&M. We certainly appreciate it.
Well, Will and Matt, thank you for the time, and it's always a pleasure to be with you guys, and thank you.